I'm not exactly sure how it would work, but I guess if you hit someone with a big enough brick of ice, you probably could hurt them. Hey Toy Fanatics, so I'm here with another review, and I'm doing another Funko run, and if you couldn't guess by the logo, of course it's a Mortal Kombat Funko, because I can't seem to get away from the 5.5-inch muscle-bound Motu style action figures with Funko. Like I'm deeply in love with them, and I just keep eating them up and getting them anytime that I can. So this time, out of the Mortal Kombat run, so we've had Scorpion, we've had Liu Kang and Katana, and judging by my background and by the reference I said with the ice hammer, I have Sub-Zero. Now, I was afraid that I would not be able to get one of these just because the ninjas they're expensive. You go out there and find them on the second market. I ended up getting a pretty good deal on this. And even though like I had already gotten a couple figures, I went ahead and made an offer out on this one because I was afraid that if I didn't, I would never have that chance again. So let's take a look at the toy. I was super excited when I was finally able to get this particular character in the series because much like Scorpion, this is kind of one of those beloved characters that you're not going to find for really cheap. I happened to get a really good deal, and even though I had already gotten some stuff, I decided to go ahead and jump on that deal because I knew if I passed it up, I probably wouldn't get him ever, if anytime soon. Now, Sub-Zero does come on the standard Mortal Kombat X card, and if you've seen, mine's actually unpunched, so you can see kind of how the whole image works together. You got your logo at the top, and then of course your Mortal Kombat X and the character name underneath. Let's look at the back. Much like other figures in the line, we have our cross-cell art, and that kind of harkens back to the Masters Universe days, except this we don't really get any play features or action features listed, which is okay. One thing to note, and I know I've said it in the other reviews, but I'm going to say it here as well, I like that we're actually getting photographs of the actual toys. Instead of having, a drawing like with the Primal Age from DC, we're actually getting the shots of the figures, so we really know what we're getting in the line, and we're not getting something that might be incorrect or not right. Out of the figures that we get Raiden, Katana, which I've done a review, Scorpion, which I've done a review, Liu Kang, which I've also done a review, and Sub-Zero. So technically, I'm only one figure out from having the series. Now that's the package, and the package is going to tell us anything else about this figure, so we need to get him out and check him out. So this is Sub-Zero out of the package, and I have to admit, he is a beautiful figure with tons of actual sculpted down details, and even a few printed details, and lots of paint application that really makes him shine. This is one of those ninjas that it just wouldn't feel complete having Scorpion, but not having Sub-Zero in the line, to show next to him. He comes with two accessories. He comes with that ice hammer, and then he comes with this very kind of ice sword that he's able to make. That's a very asymmetrical style sword that looks more like it was created from his hands than he got from a weapons rack. And if we turn him to his back, you will see that a lot of the motif of design is carried to the back with all the folds from his tunic, and even down to the bottom of his tunic and the belts that go around the side. Then he even has painted armor that goes on the back of his feet, which is really, really cool. Couple things to note, he does have a few areas of hindering on his articulation. His head is stopped by the collars over here, and his arms are stopped by the collars over here. There's not a lot of loss of articulation with his legs as they are on a ball joint, and his skirting and tunic doesn't actually get in the way too much. And then there's no loss of articulation in his waist, really just his head and his two arms. But you have to admit, for an action figure that fights with mainly his upper body, that's going to be an important thing to have articulation hindering in. Now with his 2 accessories, he does come with this sword. And what's cool about the sword is actually made of a translucent blue plastic. So it's like ice. And it does have some nice like organic ice shaping to it. One thing to note, especially if you get this for someone who has small kids, these points are very, very sharp. And I've actually cut a couple shirts on them, just trying to play with this figure holding him, you know, in my lap. The hammer itself actually really well made, and it comes in 2 pieces. So it's got the top brick and the bottom piece with the handle, and it's also all made out of that translucent blue plastic. All in all, I think he is a beautiful action figure, and I know he pairs up very well with the other figures in the line. And there you have it. That's the review of Sub-Zero. And you know, things to point out, like this portion here does hinder some articulation. So in some ways it's a little upsetting because I don't feel like his arms go up and all the way around like Scorpion's does. It doesn't seem to have the same free range movement. And the fact his waist is a little loose, I mean, that kind of bothers me a little bit. But again, much like the other toys, it's a really solid figure. And you can see the love that was put into these when they made it at Funko, when they designed it up. So kudos to them. I believe this was like their really their first figures to do in this style. I kind of wish that they'd make more. I'm definitely after a raid now. I'm not sure if I'm getting the variants. There was a variant of him that came out that was the all ice, so much like his weapons, except he was all translucent. So kind of like the, well, was it the reverse freeze that you had in the first game? So if you froze someone and then you freeze them again, you would freeze and they could hit you. It looks kind of like the same. So it's him in a frozen sort of look. Now, let me go ahead and get rating out on him, okay? Because I really like him. I think he's good. He's, in my opinion, like the sculpt of him is beautiful. Like everything works really well, but there's a couple points of articulation that's a little off. And because of that, I'm gonna go down just a little bit. And I'm putting him at a 4.5 stars to my 5 stars. Okay, so 4.5 out of 5 stars. All in all, he's a good figure, and he looks amazing next to Scorpion. But the sculpt of this does hinder some of the articulation, and that's a big thing to keep in mind. Searching on the internet, I have been finding him usually $25, $30. He doesn't seem to be quite as much as Scorpion, and here lately, a couple searches of Scorpion, he's gone up in price. But Sub-Zero doesn't seem to be quite as much money. Now, I ended up getting mine through a back and forth offer system for about $17.56. So, I got really lucky. For that, considering that I probably should have paid $25, I'm going to go with $2 signs that I got a good deal on him, but he's still kind of expensive. Costs about as much as a new Motu Origins after tax, though that's not with tax. It's $17.56. So $2 signs. He's kind of expensive, but I do think price-wise he's worth it, and I did get a pretty good deal compared to what you're normally going to find on the internet for him. Okay, so mid-range price, got a fairly okay deal. I think he's really cool, and I think he's one of those that if you like Mortal Kombat and you like He-Man, this is a really good line to get into. Him and Scorpion are definite must in the line. I would technically suggest all of them, and honestly, I'm out there looking for Raiden too, because I think they're amazing. So they're well worth the money that you're going to put into it. With that being said, remember, they're not dolls. They're action figures with ice tools. I wonder if that really hurts his hands after a while. This episode of Tay Ray Gun was sponsored by Marvin Dog Media. To learn more about Marvin Dog Media, visit www.marvindogmedia.com. If you liked the video, be sure to hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below to let YouTube know that you like what I'm making. And be sure to hit that bell notification so you get updates to future content.